Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today we're taking a look at the last 4 of the 8 princes in Total War 3 Kingdoms 8 princes, and a partridge in a pear tree. No, sorry, that's the next DLC. Yep, if you didn't see part 1, okay, that was covering Sima Wei, Sima Lun, Sima Yi, and Sima Jiong. There'll be one vote for which of these guys to play in a campaign. I'm going to be playing 2 campaigns. So, today, we'll be looking over these 4, and there'll be a poll in the description to vote between these guys. So I'll be playing one campaign with these lot, one campaign with these lot, alright? Well, one campaign with a choice of these lot, and then, you know, bottom row as well. So, I want to do 2 campaigns. I had to split up the vote arbitrarily, somehow, to avoid it just being the most popular picks, and just playing the same as every other YouTuber on there, right? So, I went with an arbitrary way to split them up, and that's what we've come to. So yeah, I let this blog decide, basically, so may as well. So today we'll be looking at these characters. So part 1, go back and look at that if you haven't already, and part 2 we're looking at these 4. So we're looking at Sima Yi, Sima Yang, Sima Yang, and Teemo Rare. So we're going to be looking at these guys today, starting with Sima Yi. So Sima Yi, much like his brothers, he does like flying through the air while looking nonplussed, which I think is great. His hero class is Strategist, so cool. So expect, trebuchets and flaming arrows and things nice and early in your campaign. Sounds great. Love that stuff. Also, his nickname is the Beloved Governor, or the Beloved Governor. Beloved or Beloved, it's up to you, I guess. It's semantics, right? So, Beloved Governor. So, who is he? He is handsome. Okay, cool. Moving on. Right. So here he is, looking handsome. Lovely. So, handsome but never considered the sharpest tool in the box. Sima Yi developed a good reputation as being filial and lenient, and for listening to the advice of his capable advisor, Le Ji. As his influence grew, however, he became power-hungry and arrogant, and increasingly involved in political schemes. It is unclear if this was due to Le Ji's manipulation, or whether Le Ji was the one who actually kept him in control. He became the Prince of Chengde when he was only 10 years old, but was later transferred to another office after disrespecting Emperor Hui's son Sima Yi. He was placed in charge of the military defense post for the important city of Jiong, and which was a backwater, but an important breadbasket all the same. So, yeah, I mean, I think if I was sort of made a prince of a province, age 10, I'd probably get a bit arrogant, but this does seem to be the trend. This arrogance. Everyone seems to turn into a power-hungry psycho, which is why they're making a game about them, right? It's, it's a no-brainer. So yeah, all the brothers are kind of power-mad, and yeah, kind of awful. But what I find hilarious is this guy's an idiot, apparently. You know, he's not the sharpest tool in the box. He's a strategist. The strategists are supposed to be the clever ones. They're the ones devising strategy, so I find that really funny. But if he's never really involved in combat, then I guess go with the non-combat role, right? But, and he does scheme, so he might be a strategist, but he might be a terrible one, you know? Who knows? Who knows? No one's, not everyone is good at their job necessarily. But we'll see. We'll see how this translates. So, his playstyle. Sima Yi knows his intellectual limitations and thus relies on powerful advisors to lead his faction. An empowered council who have a wider impact on how the faction is run. This means that choosing the right ministers is of vital importance with Sima Yi, and powerful synergies can be created from combining the right characters with these offices. Now, this sounds very interesting. So, it sounds like the offices are going to be like a big factor in maintaining, public order and all sorts, I'd imagine. So that's kind of cool, because, yeah, you usually get some bonuses, but if your faction is relying on that, then, yeah, it's going to have a whole level of importance. You're not just going to throw someone in there arbitrarily. You're going to want to make sure you've got people in the right roles if you want to succeed, which sounds interesting. It means you have to really juggle a lot of characters and really get to know them and know how they're going to synergize. So that's really cool. That sounds super interesting. So, Guanxi, Sima Yi starts with 2 trusted advisor. One is Le Ji, who we've already heard about, his loyal advisor, who some refer to as the key mind behind Sima Yi's ascent to power. The other is Le Ji, a former imperial chancellor of the Eastern Yu, who is a famous writer and a literary critic. He also acts as one of Sima Yi's military commanders. So, his start position. This is what I always love to see. So, okay, he starts way over here. So, Sima Wei starts here. So, he's the closest that I know about. There's another one down here, a couple up here and here. So, yeah, there's spread out. But he seems pretty secure in that side. Quite a lot of territory, too. but starts off at war with someone by the looks of it. So, Sima Yi starts in control of Chengdu province, and is well nested in one of the most prominent breadbasket regions in ancient China. Consequently, his starting position is very secure and quite powerful. To the north and south, his neighbours are friendly, but conflict is brewing with the princes in Hanzhong and Ba, both of which are friends with Sima Wei, so conflict between Sima Yi and Sima Wei might be unavoidable. Yeah, almost certainly, right? Because this game's all about war, so got to encourage it, right? So one thing I didn't mention in the first video is actually the starting situation. You know, the difficulty, because that will weigh into what you guys vote for, I'm sure. I can't remember anything being more than normal for the previous 4. Could be wrong, I'd have to look back, but yeah, so this guy, normal difficulty. Starting difficulty, of course, so, you know, once you escalate, right? So anyway, so character specializations. He's a strategist. He gets +10 satisfaction faction-wide, which is pretty good, so it means, you know, those council members that you're giving all those good rolls and getting bonuses for, etc. That's going to be great. You know, they're going to be happy. They're not going to leave you and ruin everything. +5 public order. Again, brilliant to be able to just lock down that public order early. That's super useful. And +50% income from peasantry. That's interesting, because I don't think I've ever had a bunch of characters that get sort of income from peasantry bonuses. So it's always pretty pointless putting up peasant income. Usually you want to do industry or commerce. So the idea of just building a load of stuff to put up income from peasantry so you can make use of that bonus, I think is really interesting. So yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. But it is only if this character is Prime Minister or faction leader. So that is a bit iffy, you know. So if he dies, you're going to lose all these bonuses, which is kind of sad. I think that's the same with everybody, though. But, yeah, that would be a pity to build your entire economy on this guy being alive. But I guess all the princes are pretty young, so maybe you can risk it. Maybe you can win before they die of old age. Hopefully. And, you know, don't lose any battles. So, empowered council, playstyle focus, characters, which is interesting. Never had a Total War where the focus is characters, so, you know, this is nice. They can exploit that in 3K. Enables character faction-wide effects in all ministerial positions. Okay. We're just not going to know what those are until we play it, but that sounds super interesting to me. And he gets a bunch of cavalry, unique cavalry, including archer cav, as well as lancer and sword and shield. So, pretty cool. So, you got melee cav, lance cav, and missile cav, so interesting. And, yeah, more strategists and a sentinel. So, yeah, no big heavy hitters by the looks of it. Sentinels can get pretty good, but, yeah, no big fighters to speak of. So he's going to have to recruit some of those, I imagine. But yeah, seems interesting. What kind of player is he for? Is it me, guys? That's for you to decide. Teemo Rare is for players who know that a ruler cannot operate on his own. He is for those who believe that a wise ruler surrounds himself with capable allies and loyal followers, and allows these advisors to shape and direct the future of his faction. Interesting. Yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by this guy. Nothing is jumping out as like being super exciting. But I think that's why he's a bit interesting. He's not trying to be showy. He's just got there's some subtlety to him by the looks of it, which I think is kind of interesting. So yeah, cool. Alright, who's up next? It's Sima Yang. So, Sima Yang, again, loves trebuchets flying through the air. Hero class, he is a champion, so he's going to be a hell of a fighter. And his nickname is the Rightful Regent. So, yeah, he's the current regent, I believe. Who is he? When Emperor Wu died, Sima Yang, fourth son of the great Sima Yi, was denied the regency by the scheming Yang Jun, eager to maintain control over Emperor Hui for himself. I think it's Hui, by the way. I'm not entirely sure. Might be like Hui, something like that, but I'm going to go with Hui, just because I have been saying that a lot, so I'm going to pretend it's correct. Anyway, honourable and eager to avoid conflict, Sima Yang retired to his estates until, following a coup, Yang Jun was overthrown. Sima Yang was finally given an opportunity to help restore order. It was not long before the ambitious and fearful Empress Jia issued false orders to Sima Wei, Sima Liang's great-nephew, declaring Sima Liang a traitor and ordering his capture. Tragically, the tempestuous Sima Wei had Sima Liang executed after his capture. The first casualty of the War of the Eight Princes. One cannot help but wonder what it might be if Sima Liang made a stand. So, yeah, weirdly, not a huge player in this game. Technically, you know, in the story anyway. Sort of good dude, and then died, and then everything happened. So, yeah, interesting. So, we can sort of change the course of history somewhat. So that sounds fun. That sounds very fun. Also, rightful regent, you know, feels like he's the one who should be in charge. So, playstyle. Sima Yang is the rightful imperial regent as decreed by the late Emperor Wu, but at every turn has had his efforts to establish peace and order thwarted by the ambitions of others. God, just those ruddy, ambitious bunch, you know. Kids these days. Now accused of treason by Empress Jia and hunted by his kinsman Teemo Rare. He must re-establish his lawful jurisdiction over the people, thereby allowing him to expand without reprisal. He can achieve this by maintaining a small but well-developed domain, growing tall, while securing the cooperation of vassal princedoms to support his claim. Okay, so it sounds to me like he'd play a little bit like, what's his name? Oh, totally blank. Yuan Shu. Play like Yuan Shu. Where you're asking people for support, essentially. And they can go like, yeah, you should be emperor. Yeah, it's good. Or regent in this case. So, sounds interesting. So you've got to win people over. And building tool is something that I don't often do. In fact, people tend to shout at me for not doing that. So it happens. So yeah, could be interesting. A good experiment here. So, Guanxi, Sima Liang's family cannot stand idly by as he faces the repercussions of Empress Jia's accusations of treachery. He is joined in his campaign by his two sons, Sima Yi, his heir, and Sima Tui? I'm not sure. Fine. Both eager to help restore their father's reputation and oust the corrupt from power. His start position. So, yeah, cool. He's at war with everybody. That sounds awful. He pretty much starts where He Yi starts. So I'm wondering if his campaign would play out similarly. Anyway, the Prince of Yunnan resides over his land south of Luoyang. The local mines providing a steady stream of industrial income. And if we know anything about the mines of Yunnan, they're completely impregnable, and no one will ever be able to take it from me. That was a trend in our He Yi campaign. That place fought off so many invasions. It was hilarious. And every time it did get taken, we just waltzed back in and took it again. It was hilarious. Anyway, his lands are under threat, however. In the wake of his branding as a traitor, he now finds himself beset by the west by the princes of Nanyang, Shenyang, and Jiangling. And with Sima Wei only a short march away. As such, he must look eastward for support. Cao Huan, the last emperor of Wei, and now Prince of Chen is a man of honor who may be eager to support Sima Liang's restoration. I'm assuming that's a relative, an old relative of Cao Cao, because Wei was his kingdom, right? Cao Cao's his kingdom of Wei? Possibly? I'm forgetting again. Never mind. Whatever. But yeah, possibly relative of Cao Cao's. So yeah, that sounds fun, right? Here you can see he has some very sturdy-looking troops there. With, I've never seen a tower shield and a sword. That's very Romanesque. I like that. So that's fun. That's fun as a unique thing. But it makes sense if he's sort of like, you know, the sort of emperor kind of thing. He's going to have those elite veteran troops, right? If it was the old emperor that gave him power over there, you'd expect these kind of units, huh? So anyway, Sima Liang. He has better mustering times, which is really good. So faction-wide as well, not just him. I mean, they're all faction-wide bonuses, which I think is great. Also, lower retinue upkeep and lowers corruption by 15%. That is huge, which is bizarre because the whole thing with him is build tool. But corruption is great when you're expanding a huge amount. So that could be really useful later on, especially with the mustering turns. Just get an army together really quickly. It'll cost you less. And yeah, once you're conquering a bunch of stuff, you don't have to worry about corruption half as much. That sounds really useful. Those are brilliant bonuses right there. So his playstyle focus is also starting situation normal still. So anyway, playstyle focus is lawful rule. Jurisdiction is gained through buildings and vassals. Required to increase maximum domain size. Oh, there's the limitation. Greatly increases income from faction leaders' estates. And increases replenishment and the chance to capture characters. Okay, so that's interesting. So the faction leaders' estates, that's that sort of base income that you get in the game. So you'll notice that your income can never dip below like 2k. Although there are costs, right? So sometimes your income is less than 2k, but you always have this base income sort of in the background, as well as all of your buildings and everything else that might give you income. So that way, if you do lose a bunch of your stuff, then you're still sort of, you know, you can still sort of support one army and stay in the game. So yeah, and that's from your estates. And he can get more, so that'll be income that would be unaffected by other stuff, which is kind of interesting. It's just sort of safe to have there. So I like that. Sounds interesting. Also, buildings and vassals, so you want to vassalize a bunch of people, but you need to increase your maximum domain size. So I don't know what the punishment would be for expanding too much, or if it simply won't give you occupation options. That's going to be an interesting thing to see. We're going to have to make sure that we abide by all this stuff if we're going to actually be able to expand. But once we do hit the, you know, get our domain size up, it seems like it'll be super easy, judging by the, you know, massive reduction to corruption and upkeep, mustering turns, all the rest of it. It seems like we'll be able to expand once it allows us to. So, interesting. It's definitely interesting. So yeah, I can't wait to find out what's going on there. So, what kind of player is he for? Sima Yang's playstyle is suited to those who wish to grow tall, preferring slow expansion and a focus on establishing one's lawful right to rule and developing one's domain, whilst creating a network of vassals to help establish a strong position in the world. I rarely rely on vassals, so this could, again, be an interesting experiment for me to try and play as Sima Yang. But again, it's up to you guys to decide whether you want me to play as this guy. So next up, we will have Sima Yang. So, Sima Yang, let's check him out. Again, with the flying, I know guys, they all love it. Sima Yang, he is a vanguard, so he's going to be a good fighter for sure. Good little duelist here, you know, good cavalry commander. Nickname is the Filial Defender, or Filial Defender. I think Filial Defender, anyway. Who is he? Well, let's get this playing, shall we? Known for finding skilled associates and assistants, Sima Yang had the reputation of being a capable military commander and a good defender, and was tasked with the defense of the city of Chang'an. Sima Yang had a good reputation among other government officials, and was cited as a great example of filiality. Filiality? It's a weird word to say anyway, but later showed more shrewd characteristics by switching sides in various conflicts. Ooh. He's one of the most experienced leaders, military and civic, among the 8 princes, having taken office in 277, which I guess is earlier than the rest. Yep. So, playstyle. Teemo Yang is a commander and knows how to exploit the military even for civic purposes. Despite his experience, he needs to be mindful and take the right precautions. He won't find victory in this conflict by rushing into glorious battle. Instead, calculate security and utilizing his military to boost the infrastructural development of his commanderies are keys to Sima Yang's success. Interesting. So, yeah, bunch of reasons to build military buildings, which I never really build, but it seems like they'll boost a bunch of stuff, so maybe, like, who cares? Usually I'd kind of go with the sort of, you know, economic buildings rather than the military buildings, but it seems like they have that covered, so yeah, interesting to see how that'll play out. Guan Shi, one of Sima Yang's most trusted advisors, is Zhang Fang, one of the most prominent military generals and commanders during the War of the 8 Princes. Zhang Fang is highly capable, but is known to make sacrifices whenever it serves his cause. He famously deported and slaughtered 10,000 slaves and fed them to his troops. Wow. Okay. That's a bit shrewd. And awful. So yeah, these guys just don't care, really, about the people, do they? They just want to establish order. Yeah. Not... doesn't sit well with me. That's just... ugh. It's awful. Anyway, start position. Sima Yang starts in the northeast in Pingyuan Commandery, a potent industrial center of salt production. Sima Yang is at war with the Prince of Jiong in Bohai Commandery to the north, which invites an early expansion northwards and makes consolidation of the north a valid early to mid-game strategy. Later on, Sima Yang will want to turn southwards towards the capital to compete with other princes, most prominently Sima Lun. Alright then, because yeah, this is, again, this area is under fairly stiff competition by the looks of it. We've got another one here. Well, yeah, at least those two. One down here as well, I think, in Luoyang. So yeah, it's going to be busy. It's going to be busy for sure. So, Sima Yang, he's a vanguard. He has plus 50% reinforcement range, which is kind of interesting. So, you know, you can stand further away from people if you want to reinforce them. Which, honestly, I've never found particularly useful, because I always just put people near each other anyway. So, if I want them to reinforce, so I've never really had that happen. It's not... It's an interesting bonus, but it's not a very good one, I don't think, in my mind. But this is huge, plus 25% campaign movement range if you're starting in your own region. Now, that is huge, because think how good that'll be for launching an offensive, or for chasing down anyone that's in your territory. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. And also, this is for his army, plus 20% speed, for his entire army. That's significant. So these two bonuses definitely make up for the last one, but it all just reinforces the fact that he can get around quickly. And also, Shrewd Defender, right, is his thing. So he will just be able to launch an offensive on anyone in his territory. So, yeah, that's the shrewd bit of the defending bit. You know, best defense is a good offense, right? So that sounds interesting for sure. So, Shot Cav and Missile Cav at his disposal, which is always interesting. So, playstyle focus, defense and infrastructure, garrisoned armies, increase reserves, and faction support. Okay. And also garrisoned armies decrease construction costs. Okay, so it's all very much a sort of military-focused economy, which sounds an interesting approach, doesn't it? So, yeah, I'm going to have to see what that's like, I think. So, well, it's up to you, really, isn't it? But, hey, I can play as many campaigns as I like at my own time, you know? It doesn't matter if you don't have time to watch a billion, I can just play on my own. So, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, we'll find out. So, so he has Jiang Fang and Liu Han as well, which we've already spoken about. So, what kind of players is he for? What kind of player, surely? What kind of player is he for? Not what kind of players? I guess that kind of makes grammatical sense. That doesn't sit right with me for some reason. Anyway, Sima Yang encourages a conservative and defensive playstyle where you progress cautiously while building up your defenses and your infrastructure. Your settlements will generally be better protected from enemies, and you can use your military to make developing your infrastructure more efficient. So yeah, it does sound super weird. That sounds like a strange way of playing the game, where you're actually... It's not necessarily the places you want to defend, it's the places you want to build things in more effectively, that you have your armies. So it's going to be interesting, I think. But of course, because he can move so quickly, and you know his own just faction wide, they have that extra movement bonus. If you're starting your own region, it means they can come to the support of other territories very quickly. So it doesn't matter if someone's launching an offensive and you're a ways back trying to make sure something's getting built. So that does sound super interesting, for sure. So yeah, if you guys want me to play Teemo Yang, be sure to vote for him. But last of all, we have Teemo Rare, which I think I'm pronouncing that roughly correctly. It's a weird one. I've had like a load of pronunciation guides, and Y-U-E seems to be pronounced a billion different ways. I don't know if it's a regional thing or, you know, historical versus modern pronunciation or whatever, but it's like rare. So like this steak is rare. Lovely. Nice and bloody. You know, that anyway. So I think that's how that's pronounced, but that's the one that seems to just be a ruddy mystery to me. Anyway, so Teemo Rare, that's how I'm going to pronounce it, alright? Sima Rare. That's how I'm going to do it for now, until I'm proved otherwise. And yeah, if you do prove me otherwise, put a source, because like, I've had a load of people try and correct me, and it's like, no, literally nothing has ever led me to assume it's pronounced that way, so, you know, you got to back it up. So, hero class, Sentinel, nickname, Imperial Overseer. Imperial Overseer, huh? That sounds important. So, who is he? Teemo Rare is an efficient bureaucrat and shrewd powermonger who mastered the political game better than the other princes. Okay. He used the intricacies of the court and his own machinations to not only outmaneuver his rival princes, but also to contain the power of the emperors Hui and Huai. As a cousin of the Jin dynasty's founder, Emperor Wu, his tenure as Prince of Donghai began in 291. And during the War of the Eight Princes, he held numerous offices in the capital and within the Jin government. So, yeah, he seems to be... Yeah, just it's a good politician, you know. Most of these other characters, they're like, you know, I'm in charge because I'm a powerful warrior, or because, you know, my dad let me. But yeah, this guy seems to have really earned his spot, which is, seems rare in these. Rare, get it? Teemo Rare. Anyway, Teemo Rare is about exercising his authority and maintaining his political influence. This is measured by his influence resource, surprise, surprise, which he can accumulate by overseeing local government through powerful assignments performed by the most influential people within his faction. He also has 2 unique government positions, which increase the efficiency of his administration. Even though military is not his focus, he will have to be mindful not to be bested on the battlefield, as defeat in battle will diminish his influence. High influence means bonuses to construction and settlement development, and a faster pace for implementing reforms. So, better research, construction, everything. So, sounds useful. And yeah, getting them through assignments, I think, is interesting. So you can, if you do make sure your local government is very good, you know, just get everyone doing assignments, and you can farm that stuff. It'll improve everything in your faction, which sounds interesting. I kind of like that though, because a lot of the time, all of the sort of commanderies essentially have no effect on other commanderies. You know, they're all just sort of things that you maintain separately. But the idea of doing a bunch of assignments that just make a commandery better, it'll make your whole nation better, and that should be the case, right? Because they're all part of the same whole. So that's an interesting sort of mechanic, which I actually think should be something that's reflected better generally in the game, where commanderies can make other commanderies better to more of an extent. Anyway, whatever. You know, that's just me. So, Guangxi, Teemo Rare is accompanied by his loyal officer, He Lun, who stayed by his side throughout the whole conflict. Equally, Princess Pai, Teemo Rare's wife, is worth mentioning as a character full of resilience and resolve. She was eventually enslaved, had to flee multiple times, was ultimately executed by her political enemies. God, it's not easy being a woman in these times, is it? Anyway, start position. As the Prince of Donghai, Sima Rare controls Donghai Commandery, a good food-producing area with a fishing port and a well-developed city. His initial enemies lie to the west, and conflict with the Prince of Panchang can lead to an important extension of Sima Rare's power base into central China. From here, control of the empire lies within grasp, but with great opportunity comes great danger. So, starts right on the edge of the map, so pretty safe, right? But there is some competition in the north. There's, 3 other factions up here that he has to worry about. So, not easy, but yeah, that's a nice place to start, honestly. You got room to expand outwards. Seems pretty safe. You're not going to be surrounded, Having to fight on multiple fronts is pain in this game. So, yeah, seems a nice spot. Again, starting situation, just normal. So, they all seem to be very well balanced, this lot. They all seem to have very similar stakes, which is interesting. So, also, it seems Axemen are his thing, which is always nice. Like to see a bunch of axe warriors and stuff. That's great. So, Imperial Overseer. It just sounds so cool, the Imperial Overseer. Anyway, so he gets plus 25% chance of capturing enemy officers post-battle, plus 15 melee evasion for melee infantry faction-wide. That is significant. That is really significant. Also, plus 10 diplomatic attitude bonus with most factions. Strategic threat. Plus 10 attitude for... Because he's strategic threat, people are happier with him. Seems odd. I guess they just don't want him on their bad side, so they treat him better, knowing that he's a very good, political wrangler, so he could easily screw you over. So I think everyone's being nicer to him, which is nice. Usually when someone is really shrewd like that, people dislike them. So it makes sense that actually people will be giving him favourable sort of diplomacy, knowing how tough he is. To negotiate with, etc., to out-wrangle. So I like that. I like that a lot. They're trying to win him over, so they don't get on his bad side. I like that. So, influence, politics, and internal government. Decreases construction cost and time, increases research rate, influence is gained through assignments. Influence decreases with defeat in battle, and influence decays over time. So, of course, once they see weakness, once blood in the water, they'll come for you. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, yeah, that's him then. That's him. What kind of player is he for? Sima Rare is for the politically minded, who like to control government and administrative aspects of rulership. As Sima Rare, you will have to concern yourself with maintaining your influence across your realm and with managing the various positions and tasks for your government officials. So, yeah, this is stuff that I suck at in 3K. It's easier for me when I'm playing on my own, but when I'm playing in a Let's Play, where I'm having to play, a couple hours, to get a couple episodes done, and then I'm off doing whatever else, and then I come back to it, I can never keep track of how long it's been since I set up assignments. So I always forget to do them, because there's no, pop-up to say, this assignment's finished. you know, do you want to set someone else up? There's no prompt to really warn you about that kind of thing. You know, it's not very clear when the assignment's finished. So I always miss it. So that could really damage me with this one. But it might get me the habit of actually, you know, keeping an eye on that stuff. So you never know. He does sound interesting for sure. So yeah, I guess that's it, guys. That's it. So it's up to you. Who am I going to play? Alright, so part 1. Actually, I'm going to put both the polls on this video for part 1 and part 2. So, yeah. So let me know. Out of these 4 for my first campaign, and out of these 4 for my second campaign. And I'm not doing one campaign, then the other. I'm doing them both at the same time, okay? So it'll be 2 episodes a day, right? 1 of each per day for hopefully about a week. If I can maintain that, then I'm going to be alternating, okay? Because that way I'll have time to do other stuff. But, yeah, there's going to be a lot of 3K stuff coming. So let me know, okay? So there's a poll for these 4, and there's a poll for these 4. That's how I'm splitting it up. It's totally... who cares? It's fine. You let me know who you want me to play. And I can't wait to find out, because they all sound super interesting. I have no preference. I really don't. I'm happy to play as any of these guys, because they all seem interesting in their own way. Which is great. That's a good sign for a DLC. So, yeah, fingers crossed. It's going to be a good one. So, guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.